If ethics were not a problem, what reality show would you love to see? Edit. I went to sleep and this blew up. Obligatory RIP inbox and thanks for the gold. I guess with how popular this got we'll probably see some of these on TV in a few years. You have only yourself to blame. You sickus. Reality show homeless guys get roofied. Wake up next morning clean shaven and in a suit at an office job and the boss is asking for the report. Here in the Netherlands, we had a dark, unethical reality show. Basically, organ donation rates were pretty low here mostly because it's something you have to specifically sign up for, rather than just checking yes when getting your driving license. So there was a reality show where the contestants were all people with fatal illnesses that needed a certain organ. The show would broadcast their lives and personalities and, by the end of the show, the viewers were supposed to vote on who they liked most and subsequently, who would be given the life-saving organ. Obviously, it was controversial and surreal and, at the end, it was revealed to be staged. Except, all of the contestants really were sick, and they really did need organ donations or else they'd die. After that, the number of organ donors shot up like crazy. Edit. It was called Die Grote Noorschau. The program was only one episode, but was heavily advertised before the broadcast, and was internationally criticized. An actress portrayed a terminally ill woman with a good kidney, which she would choose to donate to one of the contestants when she died. During the broadcast, viewers could submit their votes to persuade the donor to choose their favorite contestant via text message. All of the contestants were actually terminally ill and knew it was a hoax. The purpose of the program was to bring awareness to the low donor rates. Sounds like it worked. It worked, but it's a damn shame that it takes something like that for people to want to help. A juiced up survivor. 50 people per team. Stranded on the same island. No games. Just survival. 6-month time frame. Large cash prize for winning team. And no provisions or outside help intervention. If some people can't survive, they simply don't. Obviously it's a volunteer event, so I'd assume plenty of survivalists etc. would be signing up for it anyway. I want to see if, even with their knowledge of it being a game, things would ever come to outright war. Twist. The amount of money is fixed at $50 million and is evenly divided among the survivors of the winning team. So basically it becomes who can kill everyone else the quickest with random island objects. I'd watch it. Except that you need to have more people than the other team left alive at the end to get any money. Or 100 people. $50 million. Free for all. Evenly split at the end. It would be cool to watch alliances evolve and devolve naturally. And kind of sick. But really cool. Edit. I keep getting so basically Hunger Games Battle Royale. No. It's not the same. In both of those stories there was only ever supposed to be one victor that could leave. This would be completely voluntary and a fixed time. Anyone can leave who survives to the end. The number of survivors is determined by how vicious the participants are, or how well they can form alliances. It's a subtle difference, but I think it would be an interesting take on it. Philonia. Build a wall around a 10-mile by 10-mile piece of land. Build 2 medieval era castles on each side. Helicopter in a few thousand felons serving life sentences, preferably from different rival gangs. And then drop a bunch of medieval weaponry around. Then drop a bunch of food in the middle. Edited to add title. A group of die-hard One Direction fans living in a house with the band's music playing on loop and at full volume 24 hours a day. Contestants can leave at any time, but the last one standing gets to meet the band. Songs rather than contestants are eliminated until eventually it's the same song over and over again, and the remaining contestants are driven to insanity. Muahahaha. You could call the show World's Biggest Fan and each season would be a different band musician. I actually love this, and if they sign waivers I don't see how it would be unethical. We can bring in psychologists to evaluate their psyche as the show progressed. It could be an amazing study of fandom. There is the added element of the drama developing in the house. No, I love Harry the most. Catfight ensues. A game show where 2 contestants are given $1 million to make each other's lives heck. Bonus points if they already hate each other. Rules: 1. No killing each other. 2 points awarded for creativity. I'd even extend rule 1 to no permanent bodily harm. I know it's no ethics, but I'd much rather tune in every week to see elaborate psychological torture than oh look, they're both still in a vegetative state. An elimination reality competition, where people compete to see who's the best at a particular job, like Top Chef or Project Runway, only instead of being chefs or designers, they're hardened criminals. For today's starter challenge, you have to case and rob a convenience store. Whoever gets the most cash in the shortest time will get an advantage in the elimination round. Good luck. Your 24 hours starts now. I remember 15 years ago, there was some special where they claimed to have criminals, most likely just stunt drivers, where the gimmick was to escape the police in a car chase, and if you get away, you're free from prison. The concept was pretty cool, and they did it all in some deserted town in the middle of nowhere so no one else was at harm. Unfortunately, it was someone our special that was only aired once and never replicated. If I remember correctly, it was on Fox's Someone's Able to Find It. The Interception. Link. Russian game show where two hijackers get a car and have to avoid the police. If they evade capture for 35 minutes, they get the car. The police won almost every time, which makes sense, since Moscow PD helped produce the show in an effort to reduce carjacking. Kidnap dwarves at birth. Raise them in isolation, so that they believe they are normal sized. Introduce yourself as their god. Divide them into two tribes that compete for your favor. I'm not a good person. They'd probably just see you as freakishly tall. Not if you deprive them of technology and their isolation and use that technology to further prove your divinity. Put prisoners serving life sentences on an island and let them set up a society by themselves. So, Australia. Olympics with steroids. I'd be amazed at what the human body can actually do with a little help. The Colosseum 2015. Only instead of using slaves and gladiators, we let people settle grudges in a ring with no rules whatsoever. Imagine Judge Judy, only with weapons, and no security detail, and no Judy, unless someone had a grudge with Judy. I'd like to see a radical Muslim and a Walmart shopping redneck live under the same roof. We'll call it Redneck Ramadan, starring Muhammad and Jethro. Alternative title Hillbilly Harem, Alabama. A show where parkour professionals try and evade police officers within the boundaries of a few city blocks or an elaborate obstacle course. Give the cops non-lethal weapons and the runner a check worth $1 million. If he evades arrest for a certain amount of time he keeps it. If not, the police get to split it. Fallout people are put in a vault. Something goes wrong, and we see how they react. A psychological experiment for our own sick amusement. Vault 69 for me please. If you have a suicide wish, sure, you would clearly be the outsider. You have something they want, and you're helplessly outnumbered. You would be fought over so hard, you would be killed fairly quickly. Duck Tropical Camping Survivor. I want to see Survivor Himalayas with frostbite and cannibalism. Separate twins at birth and place them into different socioeconomic situations. One twin growing up on the south side of Chicago, the other in Beverly Hills. We follow them as they grow up and see how where they started in life shaped who they become. I've seen this before. They both grow up to be Lindsay Lohan. I like British Lindsay Lohan a lot more though. Take two people, one that's 100 pounds and one that's 200 pounds. They have 30 days to get to the same weight. If they can get within 1 pound of each other at the end of the month, then they win. It's called Meet Me in the Middle. Edit. I heard Rob Sestonino suggest this once on Rob has a podcast link. 50 pounds in 30 days is pretty close to impossible. You'd need to get creative then. The 100-pound contestant could take steroids and gainers, and the 200-pound contestant could lose a limb, or attach a helium balloon for the weigh-in. Or 200 pounds cuts off an arm and a leg and sews it onto 100 pounds. Easy. Now you won a ticket to Bahamas for your vacations. Only the ticket though. Enjoy. Expiration date. Matchmaking program that connects terminally ill humans who are sent on wild trips together to experience love and life again before they die. Remember the Truman Show? Yeah, that. A Truman channel of like 20 different people all growing up in Truman show lives showcasing various cultural influences and seeing how it affects their individual growth. A sociologist dream. Ethics nightmare. The most dangerous game. Drop people off in the jungle and have world-class hunters hunt them down predator style. Pick one random paparazzi photographer and have the general public take photos and video of him all day and night. Post all images in real time on livestream and have them voted on daily by the public. His address and phone numbers are advertised, and harassing this guy is expected. Show ends when he murders someone or kills himself. Either that or Bill Hicks Let's Hunt and Kill Billy Ray Cyrus. Lord of the Flies Toddler Trouble Edition. Get a bunch of toddlers together in a secluded place without any interference by adults whatsoever. Maybe some food drinks dropped randomly. If they can't find it at first, see what kind of society they form. What kind of language communication they create. What kind of ethical system they create. Added bonus, finally settle the nature-nurture debate once and for all. Instead of a conch shell, give them an iPad and watch them go apeshit until they all die a few days later because they can't even make a fire. I'm fond of Family Guy's idea, fast animals, slow children. Oh no, I spilled honey all over me. I call it witch hunt. Lock 20-ish people up in a huge mansion including grounds surrounded by an inescapable fence. They are provided infinite food, drink, and entertainment. However, none of the doors in the entire mansion can be locked. They are told that the goal of the experiment is to determine whether a society without privacy can function when resources are infinite. We allow them to interact normally for a few weeks as to establish some social order, that is cliques, friendships, rivalries, etc. At the end of this period, the viewership votes on which individual they like least. A stealth operative is then sent to kill this individual and make it look like a clumsy murder. Various misleading evidence will be planted for each living individual indicating they may have been the killer. Here the show takes a turn. Accusations will fly and the group will attempt to solve the murder. There is no contact from the outside world, so they must settle things themselves. Fights will break out and the situation will devolve. If the situation stabilizes, for example the killer is unanimously agreed on and dealt with, then the process of voting and killing another cast member is repeated. Bum's Night Out. Link. The idea is simple. Take a bum, give him 1,000 and see what he does with it. It would be rigged, so they do something crazy with it to make it entertaining, but still. Credit goes to FPS Kyle. Gorilla bodybuilding. Take 5 gorillas. Teach them how to pump them full of steroids. Watch as they become the scariest creatures the world has ever seen. Call it Origin of the Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Origin of the Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Start of the Origin of the Rise of the Planet of the Apes. We can go deeper. Orphanage. Every week a group of orphans perform various random tasks to impress a set of adoptive parents, but only one kid gets chosen, and the rest come back the following week to try with another set of parents. I seem to remember there actually was a reality show a while back where they found an orphan's parents, and they got like 4 other couples and the parents to take turns spending time with the poor kid, and at the end, the kid had to guess who his real parents were, and whoever he guessed got a ton of money. Dude, that's stuck up. Link. Brain Games, an ethical psych experiment version. Stanford prison experiment. Do it. Push the button, because we told you to, even though it causes harm. Turn that baby up to 11. Hidden camera shoot, setting up various famous ethical dilemmas. In the first episode we set up the Heinz dilemma. We inject somebody's house with a virus that gives them only 24 hours to live. We tell them that there is a drug available at the pharmacy, but they can't afford it. Watch what desperate attempts this person goes through to try to legally or illegally procure this drug for their spouse. In my college years, a friend of mine would always talk about this idea he had for a show. While you were burying your parents. The idea was a simple one. It's a home improvement show similar to those ambush shows where your loved ones send you away for a vacation while they remodel and decorate your house. Only in his version, your parents fake their deaths. While you are traveling to see to the details, you have to funeral, legal issues, etc. Your parents are actually alive and are decorating your house. But it went deeper than that. The show would arrange for you to miss your flight. Your brothers and sisters would be in on it. They'd get drunk and fight, ending up in jail. Your trip would be the worst week of your life. Maybe you even get detained by TSA due to a suspicious item in your bags. Finally, after a week of pure heck, having buried both your parents, you walk in the front door of your house, which is now totally unrecognizable, and your parents jump out from behind a wall, yelling surprise, in glee at your shock or heart attack. I'm not ashamed to admit I would watch the shit out of that show. I would love to see Congress marooned on a remote island, sort of like Survivor, I guess. Although you don't even have to make a show out of it. Getting them to vote someone off the island would take the whole season though. How much would it take for you to suck a dick? Get random dudes off the street and offer them money until they suck a dick. Pretty straightforward. I think that would be very disappointing pretty quickly, because the amount would be considerably lower than you'd think. The Womats. 2 teams take 1 Wombat each and try to survive as long as they can only with the stuff present in the market. A truly modern Coliseum, with masters of various combat arms competing for a 1 billion prize. So you've got your Krav Maga master up against men who know how to wear and use full plate armor along with swords and shields. Samurai versus knights. Rapier wielding swordsmen versus knife fighters, etc. Until out of every combat and martial arts style known to man, we have the Ultimate Warrior, who next year will defend his title against a whole new batch of challengers. No rules. Just win and live. Or die and lose. Edit look. Unless the show you're talking about lets people fight to the death with real weaponry, it's not what I'm looking for. So Ultimate Warrior, the UFC, the UWM, none of that shit counts because everyone survives, and most of them don't allow weapons. Combat is fundamentally different when your life is on the ducking line, and ethics aside, I want to see some Methodicas killing each other. Edit to I envision multiple seasons. Season 1 is melee as described above, no archery or firearms, no siege weaponry, etc. Season 2 is every kind of thrown and fired non-firearms, throwing knives, hatchets, boomerangs, throwing stars, glaives, spears, bows, and crossbows. Season 3 is small unit tactics, teams of 4 versus 4 utilizing a matching assortment of melee and ranged weapons up to and including sidearms and long arms, fighting over control of a square mile of simulated urban terrain. Season 4 is skirmish, full platoons of trained soldiers with numerous arms fighting over a 4 square mile area, with each battle growing in power from clubs and spears all the way to automatic weapons and grenades launchers. Season 5 is a full battalion fighting over 9 square miles. Season 6 is 2 small militaries, complete with naval and air support, fighting over control of an island somewhere, preferably 25 square miles with varied terrain. Blind employment. Baby boomers versus millennials are set tasks to accomplish in their chosen field. If the millennials win, they get to take over the baby boomers role. If the baby boomers win, they get to look smug and say I told you so. Those spoiled brats on Maury, the ones that talk back to their mom, the ones that abuse their parents, call them names, straight up out of control brats, electric collars, have someone watching them at all times through a camera on the collar, and anytime they act like a little shit, just give them a zap. Stolen from our trees some time back. I want to see a game show where the contestants get ridiculously high and then are given a random product they know nothing about and 30 minutes to sell as many as they can. QVC style. Credit given to Ublaze108 as it was his idea link. Autistic children on acid locked in a room with turkeys. Do the turkeys get acid too? I think it's only fair that they do. We build an entire modern American city from scratch on an uninhabited island. And I mean the whole shebang: skyscrapers, supermarkets, malls, car dealerships, gun stores, suburbs, slums, sewer systems, gas stations, etc. There is one thing that we do put in this city that most cities don't have anymore. Since the Cold War ended: nuclear bomb shelters. And then we put around 30 to 50 people in this city. Let them live there for a couple of days to get used to it. And then one day, with only 20 to 30 minutes warning, they have to get to a bomb shelter before a literal nuclear bomb is dropped on the city. The rest of the show is just watching those that managed to get to a shelter in time try to survive in this new post-apocalyptic setting with limited food, fresh water, and weapons and ungodly amounts of radiation. The last one to survive wins $1 billion that they can use to enjoy before they die of radiation poisoning or cancer. We call the show Nuked. A show that is kind of like the movie Snowpiercer, where people have to battle from the back of the constantly moving high-speed train to get to the front car. The first person to make it to the front gets the prize. I've always loved the idea that I saw on Our Crazy Ideas. 11 gay men and 1 straight man are locked in a house. The object for the gay men is to find out who isn't gay. Once a week someone gets outvoted until 2 are left, or the straight man is out. If the gays manage to outvote him, they win $1 million. If the straight man is among the 2 last people in the house in the end, he wins $1 million. Now here's the twist: none of the men are actually gay. They just all think they are the one straight man. Too long didn't read straight men behaving like homosexuals on TV. All credit goes to you Supraboy95 Edit or 4chan. Apparently. Edit. Wow. This blew up. Also, shout out to you Shitty Watercolor for drawing this. I'd love to see a show where people, religious or not, lived under every rule from the Bible. A Big Brother type thing. Except they are eliminated when they can't do it anymore. And there's also weekly challenges. A Running Man style game show for illegal immigrants. If an illegal immigrant is caught, they are immediately detained, microchipped, and given the following choice: you can either be deported immediately with nothing, or you can enter the Running Man maze. If you fail to make it through the traps and pitfalls and hunters of the maze, you get deported with a small cash handout. If you make it, you are offered the chance of citizenship and a startup fund of 10k. Then gradually increase the dangerousness of the traps and have sponsorship deals for the hunters and the equipment they use. Hunger Games. Except it's in a 2-story building, so there isn't all that running away shit. Are you smarter than a retard?